What's ripening YouTube? So I've been getting questions about tractors over and over and over again. So I'm going to go ahead and finally address that in this video. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the tractor that I have, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and hopefully give you some insights for yourself if you're deciding whether or not is the right time to buy a tractor, what size you should get, what are the features you should look for, and what kind of implements do you need. So I might not cover it all in one video, but let's get started and stick with me. All right, so this is my tractor. This is a Mahindra, and it's the model 1538 hydrostatic transmission. 1538, so it's the basic series, and it's 38 horsepower, and it's got the hydrostatic transmission, which means that it's really easy for me to transition from forward to backwards without any major gear shifting. This tractor is a beast. This thing's a beast for what it is, for the size it is. I've been really happy with it. I've had it since 2017. I've put about 900 hours on it. When I got it, it was new, but it was like a show model, so it had been sitting outside for a long time. It already had faded, and so I got some discounts on it just for cosmetic. Wasn't the prettiest tractor on the lot, but it's what I needed, and it came with a full warranty. So a couple things about this particular tractor. It's 38 horsepower. The same model comes in smaller size motors. I got the largest horsepower for this series of tractor. I could have gone with like a 28, a 33, or a 38, and I went for the 38, and I'm not disappointed. The more horsepower gives me more power to the PTO, which is the shaft on the back that rotates things like a tiller or a brush hog like you see here. I believe it or not, I've actually worn this thing out. I've had to have the PTO replaced. It was covered by the warranty. That is one of the things that I really like about this particular tractor, is that it does have a pretty solid warranty. You can see 5-year powertrain, and they lived up to it. I went in there, didn't pay a dime for the replaced PTO. All the clutches were burned out. Super important, if you do what I do, which is I use a lot of wood chip mulch, you have got to have a loader. The tractor without the loader, it just doesn't make any sense unless you're not moving wood chips. And the reason I was mentioning the extra horsepower and the extra weight, the reason I like this size is because it's heavy enough to push that bucket into a pile of mulch. A pile of sand is a little bit more difficult because sand is so much heavier. But one thing I've seen is that a lot of times people will buy the smallest tractor you can get, and believe it or not, the tractor is so light that it actually, when it hits the pile of mulch, it just spins its tires and sinks down rather than actually pushing into the pile. So it's not something that's really obvious if you haven't operated a tractor before, but having the weight to push is actually really important. So don't, if you can, or if it makes sense for you, don't go too small unless you just have a really small property and maybe you just don't need to move that much and it's not a big deal. So this is a loader control. They come in all different shapes and sizes. This is something that, you know, everyone's going to have a little bit of a different preference about how they, you know, where these are mounted, how they like to operate them, but they all basically do the same thing, forward and backwards. So they curl back and forth or in and out. This is the shuttle, or this is the forward and reverse. Mine's on a rocker pedal. This is actually one of the things I don't like about my tractor. There's lots of other models that have, instead of having a rocker pedal where you put your foot on this part and your heel on this part, or you can move your toe back here if you want. Instead they'll have two pedals, which is forward and reverse, and they'll be next to each other. I much prefer that, especially because I'm a tall guy. You can imagine a long knee and leg coming in here and coming down to that pedal. My leg's pretty cramped in here, so for me to operate this, I kind of have to torque my leg a little bit to make that work. So my next tractor will have 2 pedals instead of this rocker. This is not my preference. Some people love it, and if you're not as tall as I am, you probably won't have an issue with it. But that's something to keep in mind when you're looking at them, is what kind of pedal it has. Now, I know a lot of people are going to prefer, rather than the hydrostatic, they like the shuttle shifting type tractor, and there's a whole variety of reasons why you might want one or the other. The reason I recommend the hydrostat is because I use the loader a lot, and also because I want to let my wife or other people that aren't as familiar with the tractor jump on and actually use it within a short amount of training time. That's been really helpful to me. I've been able to put people that are new to farming, or like my wife, she'll do it like every 6 months, so she'll forget and then have to get back on. It's really easy. She just has to go forward and reverse. You know, there's a throttle control just so you're not going too slow or too fast, and that's it. She can drive that thing. That's not a problem at all. Some of the shuttle shifts are a little bit more finicky on how they operate, and I honestly don't use them hardly ever, so I don't even really know what to tell you to look for in that regard. But I would go for the hydrostat personally. I would go for something this size, and this is if you're in the, I would say, up to 10 acres. I think this is an okay size. If you got over 10 acres, I'd be looking for an upgrade. This project site that I'm on right now, that's like 4 acres, and we're getting ready to plant out 12 acres, and then there's another 30 something acres. This tractor is not even remotely big enough for this project. That's why we've got the front end loader here, and I'm looking at actually upgrading this tractor in the future. If you are on small acreage, like less than 2 or 3 acres, that's where I would consider going a little bit smaller than this if you wanted to, just so you can save some money there. But really, I think this is an appropriate size, everywhere from 1 acre all the way up to 10. My farm at home is 12 acres now, and I feel like this is just the right sweet spot. The machine itself is about 5 feet wide, which is fairly narrow. I can get in and out of places. The next size up from this tractor goes wider, so that's one thing to consider, is the width, depending on how you're using your tractor, where you're going to go. And then also that PTO power will dictate what type of influence you can run off the back, how wide of a bush hog or whatever it is you're going to use. They all kind of, you make compromises in every different direction. All right, so some of the things that there's an upgraded model of this that I really covet now, and I wouldn't have ever noticed the differences except that I've spent so much time on this tractor. And I'll tell you the things that are different that I really wish I had. The first thing is that on the upgraded model, instead of having the grease fittings back, up under everywhere, like there's one in there, there's one under there, all the fittings are on the outside. You just plug in, bop, 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 just like that. All these would be super easy. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but here's, actually I can show you, this is the type of fitting right here. They're on the outside, so you don't have to go digging around for the fittings. It makes it way easier to grease. Another thing is that the seat on the upgraded model, this is my second seat, I've already replaced this once. The seat has like an air ride suspension. This has no suspension, so the only suspension you have on that seat is your butt cheeks, and I don't have a lot of padding, so I get beat up pretty good on this tractor. That's a big difference. And then the fenders on the next size up have metal fenders. It has better lighting, and it has a more robust linkage in the back, which I wouldn't have recognized right away, but now that I look at it and I look at mine, I can see the difference. I've already broken these bars several times. I just had one of them re-welded, these little linkage bars, just because I abuse this tractor. I mean, I don't go easy on my equipment, and and it shows, because sometimes I beat it up, but that's just part of the fun of it. So one thing that I wish I had done on this tractor, but I just didn't have the finances at the time, is added the third function. You can see the hydraulics that are running to the front. You can actually add another function and it would change this handle. You'd have either a button, or I can't remember if it's a switch or whatever it be. And that third function runs to the front, and you can actually operate a different type of bucket with a grapple, so I can actually scoop and grab things. That would have been so handy for me, especially when you're clearing land. You want to pick up brush piles, or if you want to pick up garbage or move tree trunks around. Super helpful. At this point, I'm still debating whether I upgrade this one or if I just go ahead and upgrade the whole tractor and get one with the third function already put on there. That would have been so awesome to have. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a taste of what I chose my tractor for, why I chose this one, what size I have. I'm gonna make another video about the implements just because I don't want the video to be too long. But let me know what you guys think about this. If you have any other questions about it, just keep in mind, I chose this tractor because I have a local dealer for this brand. I didn't choose it because I particularly wanted a red tractor or I particularly wanted this brand. I chose it because I wanted dealer service local, and that's what I recommend for you. You know, the brand loyalty is that's a personal preference, but you know, if you want the orange one, but the orange, you know, the Kubota dealer's, you know, another hour away, and there's a green, you know, John Deere dealer down the street, I would go with John Deere. You know, Mahindra happened to be the one closest to me. I got a good deal on this one. It's got a good warranty. I've been happy with the machine. Keep in mind that dealer relationship, and don't be afraid to shop a little bit, but it makes a big difference. I can put this on my trailer and drive 5 minutes up the road and go have it looked at, or they'll actually come get it if I wanted them to, but I save money when I bring it on my own. So keep that in mind. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time.